Shannon Sharpe got hit with a $50 million lawsuit, and I pulled the whole thing. It is crazy. So let's get into it. This lawsuit that was just filed against Shannon Sharpe included information about another lawsuit that was filed a whole year ago that I didn't even know about. I also went and found some information on that, and the whole thing is pretty crazy. This other lawsuit that is referenced in this lawsuit has to do with a woman named Michelle, who used to work for ESPN and used to interview Shannon Sharpe. And no, this Michelle is not Instagram Michelle that we all heard about. Shannon Sharpe is being sued by a Jane Doe who is claiming that she was in her early 20s while she was in a 2-year relationship with Shannon Sharpe. She said that she met Shannon Sharpe at the gym because Shannon Sharpe was watching her while she was working out. Eventually, he approached her and introduced himself. She claims that after that initial meetup, Shannon Sharpe would continue to approach her at the gym and would text and call her phone a lot, wanting to meet up with her. She finally agreed to meet Shannon Sharpe outside of the gym, but Shannon Sharpe wanted her to sign an NDA. She said he was persistent about this, but she kept refusing because she wasn't comfortable with it. Eventually, he dropped the matter of her signing an NDA and invited her to his home. When she got to Shannon Sharpe's house, he opened the door without saying a word, then turned around and walked up the stairs. She was confused, just standing there looking around. So she ended up walking in and following him. She claims that she followed Shannon Sharpe to his bedroom, and he still didn't say a word. He just pointed to the bed and then walked into the bathroom and closed the door. She sat down on the bed. 5 minutes later, Shannon Sharpe came out of the bathroom, still not speaking, and he shut off the lights and laid down. She said she was really uncomfortable because he wasn't saying anything. So she just laid down as well, and there was complete silence for about 10 minutes. She alleges that he placed his hands on her neck and told her, "I always knew I was going to be with you." She said they got into these physical acts, and then she noticed that Shannon Sharpe was allegedly recording her. She said this was their first encounter, and she didn't say anything because she was nervous and scared. She didn't know what he was going to say. She also claims this wasn't the only time Shannon Sharpe was allegedly recording their physical encounters. She said that at one time, she caught Shannon Sharpe on FaceTime with his childhood friend Bucket while they were being intimate. She said that by this point, she had gathered enough courage to tell Shannon Sharpe to stop. When she did this, he would allegedly get aggressive and angry and try to control her again. She then claimed that for the next year and a half, she would go to Shannon Sharpe's house 4 times a week. And Shannon Sharpe started to treat her like an object. He would try to control her emotionally, physically, and psychologically. He demanded complete control of her time and body, expecting her to be at his house on schedule, at his command, and whenever he called. She said during the entire relationship, this alleged verbal mistreatment never stopped. She said one time she specifically remembers him yelling at her while there was a visible firearm in his room. During this time, she began to feel terrified. She says she tried to share her location with her friends on her iPhone, but Shannon Sharpe allegedly saw her doing this. At that moment, he realized what she was doing, grabbed her by the neck and told her, "If you ever do this again, I will hurt you." She alleged that this rage and aggression continued to escalate to the point where sometimes her friends began to fear for her safety. One time, she was on the phone with her friends, and they could hear Shannon Sharpe yelling at her over the phone. They asked her if she was safe and if she was okay. She says that in the summer of 2024, both she and Shannon Sharpe moved to Las Vegas for their own reasons. Shannon Sharpe liked to say she followed him there, but she says that was a lie. He kept insisting she sign an NDA, and she refused again and again. After enough resistance, he let it go and continued seeing her multiple times a week. Then, in September of 2024, she said Shannon Sharpe humiliated her when he live-streamed himself being with another woman on Instagram. She said her feelings were hurt by this because Shannon Sharpe allegedly always reassured her that they were exclusively in a relationship. She said at this point, she also feared she might contract a transmitted disease. Finding out that Shannon Sharpe was seeing other women made her start to pull away. She stopped answering his calls and stopped telling him her location when he demanded it. She claims that trying to distance herself from Shannon Sharpe made him even more upset. He began flooding her phone with calls, demanding to know where she was. She alleges he called relentlessly, multiple times per hour. She says the harassment became so unbearable that she frequently began leaving Nevada, determined to cut off all communication, resist his control, and reclaim her independence. But she claims Shannon Sharpe would not accept her freedom. In October 2024, after she returned from Europe, she claims Shannon Sharpe's behavior became more angry, aggressive, and even violent. She says that once she returned and was working at a gym, Shannon Sharpe aggressively approached her. She said by his look and the way he moved toward her, she could tell he was furious that she had been ignoring him. She claims when he got closer, he told her, "Sit down or I'm going to hurt you." She told him, "I don't want to talk to you. You were with someone else." His alleged response was dismissive and controlling, as usual, saying, "You don't have a choice." She claims Shannon Sharpe demanded they talk in private again. She said she told him no and made it clear she didn't want to be alone with him or have him come to her home. She claims Shannon Sharpe didn't care, never took no for an answer, and forced her under threat to get in his car and go to her home. She claims that once they got to her apartment, she tried to keep the conversation in the living room, but Shannon Sharpe allegedly refused and demanded they go to the bedroom. She said no, but Shannon Sharpe didn't listen or care. Once in the bedroom, she claims Shannon Sharpe grabbed her from behind and forcefully positioned her to perform. She claims he held her in place and then forced her to engage in acts she did not consent to. He allegedly said, "You disrespected me so much. I'm going to punish you. I'm going to make it so no man will want you again." She said she was crying and sobbing, and tears were streaming down her face. While this happened, she alleges Shannon Sharpe told her, "Turn around and look at me," then grabbed her head, forcing her to look at him as she cried. He allegedly said, "Look at this, look at my arms, I've got chills. That's how good this is." She alleged that Shannon Sharpe forced himself on her again, despite her being in visible pain and distress. In this Jane Doe's lawsuit, she references another lawsuit filed against Shannon Sharpe in 2024, saying the allegations are very similar. And y'all know me. I found that lawsuit. I will say the allegations are indeed similar. This second lawsuit was filed by a woman named Michelle Evans on July 31st, 2024. She is suing Shannon Sharpe for defamation, slander, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and negligent infliction of emotional distress. Michelle Evans claims that she and Shannon Sharpe had a relationship in 2010. They had a dispute because Shannon Sharpe was also seeing another woman at that time. She said that when she objected to being physical, he allegedly forced her into acts she did not consent to. She said he told her that he would make it so no other man would want her. She also claims Shannon Sharpe threatened that if she told anyone, he would use his connections to ruin her. In 2010, she filed a restraining order against him, and it's included in her lawsuit. She's not suing for the original incident, but because Shannon Sharpe later discussed it publicly on Undisputed and allegedly defamed her. She includes media articles, a restraining order, and pictures from her old phone from when they were together. She also includes an article about Shannon Sharpe being charged with a misdemeanor battery for removing the mother of his children from his home. All of this is pretty crazy. Y'all let me know what you think in the comments.